and welcome to another hQuestBuilder tutorial video. I realise it's been quite some time since I've done a full guided tour of hQuestBuilder. It was back in August 2022, and at the time of recording, we're in February 2024, and there's been quite a few features added to the builder since then. So what I thought I would do is take you on a kind of whistle-stop tour through all of the different features that hQuestBuilder now has. This is going to be a bit of a longer video, so hopefully you've got time to just come with me and go through the various aspects of what the builder now offers. When you first come to the builder, what I've done is reset mine, so it's basically exactly as it should be when you arrive on it the very first time. You will be presented with a relatively quick tour that gives you just a quick guide of all the kind of key areas of hQuestBuilder. You can come out of it at any time, and if you wish to, you can re-trigger it at any time by pressing this little question mark here on the main screen. I'm going to close it because you've got me as your guide today, so I can take you through. Before I go much further, I just want to introduce you to these kind of little icons down here. These are links off to a contact form. There's a donation link here if you wish to donate towards the project. There's a link through to the YouTube YouTube channel there, and also the subreddit for hQuestBuilder, and also a little feedback element down here. These will always be here, apart from the feedback element, which disappears if you do decide to give us a bit of feedback. But yes, I read everything that comes through. If you've got any thoughts or feedback on hQuestBuilder, I'm always interested to hear from the community. Equally, if you're having any trouble or problems, please let me know, and I will do my best to try and help you and sort out anything that's going wrong, or if you're having kind of issues with the builder at all. hQuestBuilder itself is built as a HeroQuest quest builder, so it's solely based on the HeroQuest gaming system. It's been around at the time of recording for several years now, so it's been in development for a while. And I'd like to say thank you to the HeroQuest community for all the feedback and kind of involvement that they've had in making this better and better as the years go by. But yes, let's get into how this all works. So when you first load up the builder, you'll be presented with just an empty map. The tour will take you through how all the interactions work, but the first thing you need to do is click on a tile within the map. And that activates this left-hand panel here, which is the palette. And the palette lets you basically populate the map with pretty much any icon that's normally used in a quest for HeroQuest. So you can scroll up and down here, and then if you select one of these and then click one of the icons on the left-hand side, it will then populate it. To rotate an icon, you keep clicking on it. So if I click clicking on it here, it will rotate the store into all the different orientations. And if it's a bigger piece of furniture, like, I don't know, a bookshelf, for example. That's not a bookshelf. I think that's one of the cupboards. You just keep clicking on it, basically. There are actually keyboard shortcuts. So I'm on a desktop computer here. And as you can see at the moment, this little box is moving around. My mouse isn't doing everything. I'm doing that with the cursor keys. There is a link to all the shortcuts. There's a Google document which gives you all the shortcut keys, and there's a shortcut key for pretty much all of the main items. So all of the monsters are on the number keys, for example. And if you want a door, you can press D and keep pressing D, and that will then rotate that particular object. And again, all of these individual items have their own shortcut key. If you hover over it, it will actually give you what that shortcut key is. You may have also noticed that some of the icons are fading out here. So what these are doing is keeping tabs of the number of the times you've used these specific items. So there's only one of the gargoyle, for example, and I've placed them on the map, so it fades out to show you that technically you've run out of gargoyles. Obviously, if you have expansions and things like that, you have more of these items. So if we scroll a little bit further down on the list here, and we open the expansions for example, Keller's Keep, if we go up here, we can see that additional pluses appear next to these, which basically shows you that you have more of those items that you can place on the map, and they will fade out later because it knows you've got more, basically. You can at any time change the look and feel of the map to the three different styles. We have the kind of old US style here, the EU style, which is my favorite because it's what I grew up with, and then also the new release from 2021, the style for that as well. All of the expansions will change at the same time. The only exception to that is the Rise of the Dread Moon, which obviously is brand new and actually doesn't have an old style counterpart. So unfortunately, that will stay the same style regardless. If you are in the community and would like to offer some artwork for the old style, that would be amazing because I'd love to add that to the builder as a bit of a kind of Easter egg. Going down here, what else you've also got are these are things which have not quite been added to the builder yet, but may well have been added by the time you view this video. And again, I will try and keep up to date with any expansions which are being kind of released and add them into the builder so you have access to those particular tiles to build your quests. Homebrew is basically a space for you to add your own tiles. At the moment, there is only the ability to add a single tile, so this is more for monsters or for traps. And to do that, you just click on the item, it will come up with a recommendation for the size, and if you upload your images to Imager, you then just need the URL of that image, and if you paste it into here, it will create a tile for you. You can then go to the map, click on the tile, and it will place it. So basically, you can have as many of these as you want going down here. Technically, you can actually delete them as well. The map will remember that you've placed the tile. Going further down, you've got all your annotations here. It's worth noting that if you want to fill things in with rock, you have to toggle it into the rock painting mode. So if you do this, it will become a hollow item, and then you can click to fill in. Now, this looks like it's going to take quite some time to do, and you can do it manually. But as I mentioned earlier, there are also keyboard shortcuts. And if you look at the bottom there, if I hold down Shift and then use the cursor keys, I can then paint out areas relatively fast. I have had feedback that people want to have a drag and drop approach. hQuestBuilder has always been built for pretty much a universal platform of whether it's touch devices or desktop devices. So what I've done is try to make it so it's relatively quick, as you've just seen, to paint with keyboard shortcuts. So if I toggle now with the spacebar into rock painting mode or not, that enables me to very quickly hold down Shift and use the arrow keys to paint in rock. If you're on a touch device, it's actually pretty quick because you can just basically touch with your finger really, really quickly on all the tiles that you want to paint in. So yes, that's the first tip that I have for you in case you didn't know. But yes, keyboard shortcuts, certainly if you're on a desktop, will make your quest building much, much faster because you don't have to keep clicking here and clicking the tile. You can just use the cursor keys to decide where you're going. And then say, for example, if I wanted a goblin to go here, I can just do that by pressing the number 1, and I can place my items really, really quickly without having to go over to the palette on the left-hand side. So you have your annotations here. If you wish to delete an item, you just highlight it. You can press delete on the keyboard, or you can press the delete icon here. There's a dark mode, so if you're working late at night, which to be fair, I tend to quite a lot on the hQuestBuilder, you can toggle it so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. It's a bit of a cheaty dark mode, to be fair. You might notice it goes a bit transparent in spaces, but it definitely makes it so it's less glaring if you are in a dark room. So hopefully you'll find that useful. What else is there? So I'm just going to make sure I've covered everything in on that side panel. I think I have. It's worth noting at the top here, you can close the panel at any time. So if you want to just look at the map by itself, you can do that. This eye icon here brings up the About panel. So this will periodically appear for you and normally will only appear when there's been an update. So I've literally just done one today. I'm recording this on the 1st of February. And it will give you a little brief summary of any new features that have been added to the build or any links or any kind of like upcoming notes on individual things. If you scroll down, there'll be a link to this particular video. There's also a whole bunch of things about what I plan to do in the future. There's a whole load of thanks to some wonderful people that have been very helpful with putting the builder together, as well as even translations, and a little bit of a disclaimer about homebrew quests and copyright, which is not all that interesting. But how do you add notes and additional information to your quests? We've just seen how we can populate the map with pretty much any icon you want in any particular layout that you want, and also in any style. If you press the cog here, it will default to the Compose tab, which is this little quill pen here. I'm just going to turn it off dark mode because it's probably a little bit harder to see what I'm doing. Here, you decide to put a quest title. I will be rather unimaginative and call it quest title. Author credit. It's worth noting, we'll get a little bit further on in the tutorial, that if you're sharing your quest, it's probably worth noting that you can put something like your Reddit handle or some way that someone might want to contact you via social media, just in case they have a look at your quest and might want to give you some feedback on it. There may in time be the ability to do that via the builder, but certainly not at the moment. So this is probably becoming a little bit more important now that quests potentially can be viewable publicly whereas historically hQuestBuilder was something which was only machine-based. But I will put my handle here, which is Squidgemonster. So the narrative is basically the introductory panel that you will see on any HeroQuest quest. So if I put my rather unimaginative hello world here, and the notes panel here is where you put all your quest notes. So anything referring to annotations or anything that you want the Zargon who is running the particular quest to know. It's worth noting that these fields do expand. So the more you type in them, they will expand to accommodate as much text as you can probably think would be needed. I will also put notes here just so you can see what happens in a moment. And Wandering Monster, you can put anything you want in here. I've seen some quite imaginative Wandering Monster texts. But yes, that field works the same, so I'll put Orc for my Wandering Monster in here. So these little icons at the top here. One is called Print Preview, which is this one with an eye on it, and the other one is just Print. If you go to Print Preview, what it will do is remove all the UI and show exactly what this will look like when it prints. So as I mentioned, this is the kind of introductory narrative that normally goes in the top panel of a quest. Your quest title is here, and then all your notes will sit underneath it. And also it's got the little credit thing at the bottom. This is what the standard quests look like when they're printed out or they're shared, basically. To return back to the builder, you just click on the map and it will bring everything back again. If you wish to print your quest, you just hit the print icon. Now this is really important, this bit, because I get asked this an awful lot. How do you save it as a PDF? Why do you save it as a PDF from printing? In fact, it's defaulted to that, so I've got an actual printer connected to my Mac, but there's also the ability pretty much in every browser now to save as a PDF, and that will literally just export your whole document as it's shown here as a PDF document, which is kind of cool and kind of clever. The other thing which is worth noting, you might notice the text is a little bit bigger here. And again, this is something which I've been asked a couple of times. There is normally controls, whether it's saving as a PDF or printing out, to control things like margins. And as you can see, moving these around, this is just on Chrome. I think the different browsers tend to do it in slightly different ways, but you can change this so that it will change the size of the document. Also, I've scaled the text here. So if you feel that the quest title and the notes and everything are a little bit too small, so by default, they will look like this. You can change that with the scale. Equally, I recommend not having headers and footers because that includes normally just information about when you printed it and it makes the paper a bit smaller. But I would leave background graphics on. But basically, this is where you save it as a PDF document. So if I hit save now, you see a whole load of random stuff on my desktop. And then I go to my desktop and open up that PDF document, which I wasn't ready to do, and I've got lots of screens open on this other side. This will create a perfect PDF of that particular quest, which you are free to send to people, and basically is a static representation of what you've created. It's all vectorized, so you can zoom in and the quality won't be lost or anything like that, but it should be a fairly good representation of what you've created on the screen. And it will also retain the style which you've chosen as well. So that's printing, which, like I say, does get asked quite a lot. So yes, you can print to a PDF from here. Unfortunately, I can't do a direct link to a PDF export because that involves a little bit more jiggery-pokery with code, which I haven't got quite round to looking at yet. But you do have the facility to do that if you wish. So we've composed one quest, but what if you want to compose another quest? Well, the next tab along is called the Quests tab. And as you can see, quest title, which is the quest that I've just been working on, is on here. If I press the plus icon here, I then can create another quest, and I can move between the two here, and I can create as many of these as I wish, all rather unimaginatively called new unnamed quest. And here I can put anything I want in this space, and as you can see, it's changing. If I want to delete one, just press the delete on a quest that is not active, just so you've always got a quest in your quest list. If there's one selected, you can't delete it when it's selected, if that makes sense. Equally, there is a little hidden shortcut here, which was asked for, and to be fair, if you do need it, it's probably quite useful. If you want to clone a quest, I'm doing a long press on the quest in order to do that, and it will create a copy of that particular quest for you. So if you want to effectively create variations of a quest, or if you have some kind of template set up for your quests, that might be quite a nice way of having it, so you can very quickly create duplicates of the work that you've been working on. Search here enables you to search within the list. Interestingly, that's not working. Oh, yes, it is. Everything's got the word quest in it. That's probably why. If I put the word new, everything's got the word new in it. If I put the word title, there we go. So it is working. I thought for a second that was broken. I hadn't used it for quite some time. So yes, you can search through that if you end up with quite a long quest list. This is ordering, so if you want to change the order for whatever reason on this list, this enables you to do that. These icons here are quite important, because if you end up with quite a long quest list, you might start to get a bit concerned as to where on earth your quests are being saved to, because as you probably noticed, I didn't create an account or anything when I arrived here. I just started building my quests. hQuestBuilder stores all of your data in something called local storage, which is basically a file space within your browser. It should be fairly safe there, unless you delete all the data from your browser periodically, or if you have some kind of security which kind of wipes your history or whatever whenever you come out of your browser. It should remain relatively intact. However, you can download at any time your full quest list to a separate file. So if we hit this little save icon and do that, you'll see something which has been exported, and it's called an HQB file. So this HQB file, at the moment, it's just saved directly to my desktop. And just to show you what happens, so if I decide to delete all of my quests here, or for whatever reason, I load up my machine and I've somehow lost all my quests, and I'll even create a new quest and delete that one so that there is nothing on this now. So there's no notes, there's nothing here. And then you can basically load in, if I can remember which one it is, I think it's this one. Yes, it will be that one because it's late. So if I do that, and then it will give you a warning to say you're about to basically wipe out whatever you've got in your quest list at the moment. You just hit OK. It will reboot the whole of the screen for you. And then if I go into my quest list, there we go. Those are all the quests that I had a second ago, and you can see it's saved all the data from there. So you can at any time export and import. You can do that as a batch of quests. You can do it as campaigns if you want to. I know that some people have quite a lot of quests in their quest lists, but this is just a nice way so that you can reassure yourself that you've done a backup, and hopefully you don't have to worry about potentially losing any data. I would be mortified if I heard that people had lost work, because I know just how much effort and time goes into putting quests together. So please do that periodically. But there is a new feature on hQuestBuilder, well, certainly new at the time of the recording, which is cloud saving, syncing, and sharing. Though this is a completely optional enhancement to hQuestBuilder, but it basically means if at any time you wish to sync your information to the cloud or have a backup that's not on your local machine, you can do it via this next tab. So the cloud save and share space, when you first get into it, has a bit of blurb at the top, a little introduction video to take you through it. I'm going to take you through it in this video as well, so you've got a one-stop shop for everything. It's very easy to set up. All you do is you put in your email address here. You will then be emailed a verification email. Click on that email, and then you'll be given something called an HQuestBuilder key. An hQuestBuilder key is unique to you. You shouldn't share it with anyone because it's effectively your password for hQuestBuilder. I'm going to get my key. He says, trying to be prepared. So I have a key that I've prepared earlier, which is on my account. And if I put that in here and hit there and save, it will then boot me into my cloud space. So these are a bunch of quests which I've been experimenting with. These are ones which I've had for a very long time. And you'll notice this is separate to the quest list, which is on my local device, basically. That one that we just restored from the HQB file is completely intact. So what you can do from this is you can pull down quests which you've got in the cloud, or you can push up quests which you've been working with on your local machine. You can use this to move between devices. You can use it just to back up your quests, but it's also the space where you can share them publicly. So I'm trying to figure out where I start with this to kind of explain things properly. Let's start from here. So this is the quest that we were playing around with. It doesn't look particularly exciting. It looks a bit strange, to be honest. But if I want to back this up to my cloud account, now that I've connected and I have my cloud tab activated, I can then push this. It will say it's going to the cloud. It's just reminding me that if I have a copy of that same quest in the cloud, it will overwrite it. So if I press OK, this will go round. It will say it's saved to the cloud. And then when I go to the cloud tab, you'll see that quest title has now appeared here. If we're looking to download a quest to work on from the cloud, so say for example I wanted to make a change to the Lost Prince, I can then hit this and it will say that it's saved to my local device. And then if I go here, the Lost Prince will be on my devices quest list, and I can go in here. I can see all of the notes kind of attached to it, and as you can see, if I click on these, they expand, so I can see all of the notes in here. This is a bit of a reveal of something called Questdown, which hopefully I will remember when I get to the end of this. So yes, hopefully you can see there I'm kind of pushing and pulling device between the cloud space and what's on my local device, basically. If you wish to, you can technically delete everything here that's on your local device, keep everything in the cloud, and then pull it down when you want to edit or work on it, and then push it back up, and then you can feel free to delete it from your local device, or if you want to, back it up to an HQB file. If we work down from the top of the cloud tab, I'll just talk through what this is. So you've got a number of slots. This number may differ depending on when you're viewing this video. You're allowed as many as you want, so if you won't run out, you can always drop me a line. But a slot basically refers to the quest in the quest lists at the moment. Mine is set at 50. So when I get to 50, I won't have the ability to push any more until, well, I won't contact myself, but if you contact me, I can give you more cloud slots. It's just a way to make sure that things don't go bananas and people start filling up slots that they don't need, or if anyone kind of does something slightly malicious, which hopefully they will not. Just below that, there's a polite reminder. Obviously, hQuestBuilder is built for people to build their own kind of quests. It's not there to duplicate copyrighted pieces of work. Obviously, if you do wish to share content which is from other people, make sure that you've got their permission and do credit anybody that you do that with as well. I think it's one of those things where it's just a good thing to do within the community. Quests take a while to put together, as we all know, so this isn't a space to be sharing other people's work, so please make sure it's just yours. At the top right here, we have the kind of close or disconnect from the cloud icon. That will just revert the cloud tab back to the previous version that it was before I connected to everything with my hQuestBuilder key. So the other thing which we can do within this list here is from the left here, there's this little grayed out icon. You can see it's a black icon on the here. This enables you to share your quest in the cloud, basically. So if I click this, I'll get a little warning that will say that you are now creating a public link, but also it will be added to the community space within hQuestBuilder. So anything that you share will effectively become part of the community quests list. And it will have its own unique web link, so you can send it to people. So if I say OK, it will spin a little bit, and then you'll see that there's this link that's appeared. So now if I hit that, it will take me through to a shared link. So I can send that to anybody. They will be able to see this. They'll be able to print it in the same way that I showed earlier. They'll be able to share it. So basically, you can share your quests with people so that they can play them. The key thing to remember when you're sharing quests is to add metadata to them. So if you click this little tag here, you've got something called quest metadata. And what this does is it gives a little bit of extra information around the quest so that individuals can potentially search for it and find it within the community quests area. The key thing is language. Quite a few people from different countries use hQuestBuilder, and it would be really lovely if we had a collection of quests from various different parts of the world and in different languages so that everybody can play quests who may not necessarily speak English or some of the more mainstream languages. Number of heroes required to play the quest, the amount of time that it might take to play it. These are all very rough estimates, but it's basically to make it out. So if someone wanted to have a very easy or beginner quest and wanted it to be only 30 minutes long, you can probably guess that you could do a quest that would be relatively short and easy for people. There's also the expansions required here. You can select as many as you want. Obviously, the more you select, the more unlikely it is that everyone will have potentially every single expansion that you've selected, but that is an option. There's options here for homebrew. hQuestMaster I will come back to, but this is a relatively, well, it's a very new feature for hQuestBuilder at the time of recording, and a very, very cool one. But it effectively is the ability to add additional markup to your quest that makes it so that it will play back almost like an AI jargon from in another website. But I will demonstrate that shortly when I get to how quests are shared. The key thing about anything that's shared in the cloud, if you wish to create a group of quests or effectively create a campaign, you do that from the very first quest in the campaign. So the primary quest is the beginnings of the quest and the web place where you put all the information for the campaign. It has to have at least 2 quests in a campaign. So if I wanted to put this with the catacombs and then followed by my new quest, that's the sequence they will appear in the campaign. You just need to have a title. At the time of recording, I'm working on adding cover images and prologues and epilogues so that potentially the quests will be displayed in different ways. And then when you uncheck that, it will just basically keep this as a single quest. Once you group quests together, if you share them, they will all share at the same time. If you unshare them, they will all unshare at the same time. They will basically link them all together. To demonstrate this, if I unshare the tower, that's part of the Lost Prince of Regic. So that's a title that will be added because it's part of a campaign. If I do that, you will notice that all of those quests are then unshared because they're all part of the same campaign. I'm probably not explaining this quite as clearly as I do on the dedicated video for it, but hopefully you're getting an idea of how this works. I think that's pretty much everything for the Share tab. Obviously, you can delete quests from the cloud space if you wish to as well. Just be wary if you do that. Obviously, the only copies that you will probably have are any ones that you've got on your local machine or ones that you might have shared to HQB files. The final tab, which we're moving on to, is the community quests area. So this is basically a list of all the quests that have been built within hQuestBuilder that have been shared to the cloud. So within this space, there's a whole list of different titles. Obviously, try and probably label your quests with a relatively intuitive title, so it might be something that people may kind of spot and want to play. But you can also use the filters, which I mentioned before. So once you've tagged your quest with particular metadata, this filter enables you to find them quite easily. So if you click on English, for example, this is all the English quests. If I want to find just a quest that is, I don't know, has Keller's Keep, then that will shorten the list. There are some quests within this list which currently don't have metadata against them, so it doesn't necessarily work super well at the moment, but the whole idea is that over time people will go in and tag their quests, and this will hopefully become quite a nice resource for people to be able to find, get inspiration, and play other people's content. So this little QD symbol is the Questdown or the hQuestMaster integration that I talked about very briefly earlier. It basically means that if we click on this community quest here, it will load up, and you will notice there's no quest notes for this particular one. It's using a syntax called Questdown, of which there's documentation you can find, and I'll show you where that is shortly. But it's very clever. What it means is that you can effectively make this a quest that can be played solo with a AI Zargon. So if we click play on hQuestMaster, it will load up hQuestMaster, and then you can click play. It will do all the introductory text. It will load the map, and then you can start moving your hero around. And it's quite magical, to be honest. And once you meet an enemy, you can say it's Zargon's turn, and then all the enemies be moved appropriately. You can do some very, very clever things with Questdown, which is the language which is used to create the logic behind what is driving everything that you're seeing. If I just close these very quickly, there is a bit of a note on that. So if we go back to the tags here and go back to what is hQuestMaster, and I click on that, this links directly to the documentation of how Questdown works and the syntax that works behind Questdown. It's quite in depth, but It's very, very clever and hopefully relatively easy for individuals to understand who you don't need to know any coding or anything. It's been written in a way that will be hopefully pretty accessible for the community to be able to compose some pretty incredible things with it. And if you want to see an example of a quest down markup, if we go to the lost prints here, I'm getting confused now. I'm clicking lots of different things. If I pull down, did I pull down the lost prints? I did. So if I look at the notes for this, you can actually combine Questdown with traditional quest notes as well. So this is just the standard quest notes here. And if you notice, this is the Questdown. So this is a hybrid quest that will not only play in hQuestMaster, but you can also, if you wish, just view it normally. That's not working. It will work, but normally it will strip out all of the Questdown. I think, to be fair, if we look at it on public site, it should have stripped it all out. It has. So here we go. If you look at this as a shared quest, it won't have any of the additional information. Final thing is shared quests. So when you share a link with somebody, obviously this is what it looks like. You've got all the ability to share this and print it. As this is part of a campaign, it will say the name of the campaign at the top and how many quests are in it. And then you can navigate through the campaign by using these navigational arrows at the top, which should enable you to quite easily move about and kind of print off all the various quests for particular campaigns. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I've not forgotten anything, but I have no idea how long I've actually been talking for. But yes, that's pretty much all the features, certainly at the time of recording, that are present in hQuestBuilder. Hopefully it's something which you will find useful. I am so excited to see all the quests that people end up building with this, some really imaginative ideas. Um, and I'm always open to feedback or any suggestions for the builder as well. There's still some things which I want to add. It's pretty feature rich now, but I do feel like there's always bits that can be enhanced. And certainly Questdown and hQuestMaster, we've got some really interesting ideas to try and build that into hQuestBuilder so it will enable you to use Questdown in an even more accessible way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is the kind of the end of the rather in-depth tour of hQuestBuilder. I hope you find it useful. Like I say, do get in touch if you've got any feedback, and hopefully I look forward to playing your quests. Happy quest building, everyone. Take care for now. Bye.